There was an instructor. She was a deliverable and a student. He was an enrolled unit. The contract was logical, neither of them were. This is not their story. They don't have one anymore. She's billing 40 hours to a system built for 50. The clause is presence optional, efficiency is thrifty. Her biological exhaustion is a liability line. Her emotional reserve not covered, sign on line 9. He's an enrolled unit in a productivity corridor. His hunger isn't data, so it doesn't reach the recorder. No childproof in the language, no human in the terms. Just billable deliverables and non-renewable concerns. They called it an agreement, she called it staying alive. The difference never mattered to the contract's bottom line. CDZ expanding, no alert, no caulk, no care. Just the binding getting tighter on the people who were there. Billable bindings, nothing fills, just silicone metrics and outstanding bills. Data without mercy, label without floor count. The productivity don't count what it tore. No 4 pies, no 5 facts, just the same drain. Extract the biological, rebrand the pain. The instructor's presence, line item declined. Billable bindings where the human's unassigned. Where the human's unassigned. He dropped his vital needs, the mandate called it growth. She signed away her reserves because the contract held them both. The negotiation table had one seat and it wasn't theirs. The algorithm doesn't log the weight a person bears. No private network coming, no reservist at the door. The silicon hollow processing what it processed once before. The childproof never happened, the analytics stayed cold. The new gold standard never came, they just repackaged the old. It's perfectly normal for systems to freely drain what public bodies mandate. Private people bear the pain. CDZ expanding, no disruption, no repair. Just the binding renewing on the unit sitting there. Billable bindings, nothing fills, just deliverable metrics and recurring bills. Childproof never happened, biological ignored. Sustainability a log, not a field on the form. No 4 buys, no 5 buys, the model stays flat. Extract until exhausted, then reallocate that. The student's still hungry, the instructor still bound. Billable bindings where the reserve runs aground. They said diversify the labor model, the contract said renew. They said victim-proof the economy, the clause said overdue. Not a network, not a reserve, not a gauge, not a caulk. Just the binding that gets heavier every time you try to talk. Silicon hollow doesn't trade in noise, it trades in documented silence. The instructor's eyes at 9 p.m. are a non-billable compliance. The student's hunger before class is an unlogged inefficiency. The contract was always logical, the humans were the discrepancy. Billable bindings, still nothing fills, just the same hollow metrics and the same hollow bills. No childproof, no analytics, no biological floor. Just the binding and the draining and the signing once more. No 4 buys, no 5 fives. The economy holds, extracting the reserve until the reserve folds. The instructor declines, the student departs. Billable bindings, contracted from the start. The study was never free, the blueprint was never written. The proof showed nothing times nothing. When you subtract the human and call the remainder progress. This is the CDZ, Contract Deprivation Zone, because bindings that bill were always exactly that, billable. Billable.
Meet Maya. She grades papers in a windowless room, providing 40 hours of unpaid emotional labor. Her employment contract ignores that effort entirely. Then there's Leo. He works 3 gig jobs from his phone to stay enrolled. He's fully connected digitally, yet hasn't eaten in days. Both Maya and Leo operate under the old deal. This economic model relies on cold math, what we call aisle and bar accounting. It tracks every task they complete and every minute they log in, while remaining completely blind to their physical and emotional exhaustion. When an economic system measures only output and ignores biology, it creates a contract deprivation zone. Human attention becomes a crop to be farmed, rather than a resource to be fueled. The mechanism driving this exhaustion is the ADZ stack, or Attention Deprivation Zone. Constant algorithmic demands, urgent tuition reminders, and endless app pings actively siphon away a worker's presence. This maps the impact. Constant digital demands mathematically force a human's rescue reserve to drop. Spikes stack until the meter hits zero. The worker enters the silicon hollow, a ghost in the machine, treated as a statistical line item, not a living organism. Prioritizing raw productivity data without biological safeguards guarantees human burnout. Systemic starvation is the outcome when the cost of staying alive isn't included in the accounting. Simply negotiating for higher wages cannot fix a broken algorithm. The underlying code of the labor contract itself requires a complete rewrite. This rewrite uses Childproof Data Analytics, or CDAs, as a protective layer. The CDA filter balances incoming tasks against a worker's biological energy. If reserves drop, this failsafe pauses contractual demands, blocking electronic noise before exhaustion sets in. Implementing CDAs shifts the economy's primary goal from extracting energy to actively protecting it. Comparing these systems directly, on the left, the old deal's versus drain shows productivity climbing while the worker's biological metrics plummet. On the right, the rescue economy's board of light maintains a glowing, stable line of biological equilibrium. This framework tracks productivity while simultaneously victim-proofing the contract. It ensures human presence remains intact regardless of the workload. We see a physical representation of this biological calm in the standpet. A simple moment with an animal cuts through the electronic noise and restores a sense of human wiring to the environment. Innovation in this model isn't about demanding more data, it's about building a system that recognizes and preserves human warmth. For Maya and Leo, integrating CDAs eliminates the punishing weight of the ADZ stack by acknowledging the immense effort they were already giving. Watch these two meters. Under the new model, the red starvation meter is replaced by a green rescue reserve meter, refilling their biological capacity by valuing their time and health. We call this restored state just ease. Workers are no longer ghosts in the machine. They experience fairness, physical balance, and a sustainable pace of life. When the economy stops ignoring the cost of staying alive and starts counting the emotional labor previously left on the floor, the measured value of human contribution increases 4 to 5 times over. The most valuable asset in any system isn't the data we generate, but our actual physical and mental presence. The Rescue Reserve Blueprint trains the endless noise of the Silicon Hollow for the inherent measurable wealth found in human life and focus. When a deal extracts more biological energy than a body can replenish, it isn't an agreement, it is a manufacturing of human debt. Stop the biodrain, rescue your reserve, and join the movement for a fillable freedom.
There was an instructor. She knew everything they asked her to know, and a student. He needed everything she had left to give, but the contract said neither of them were human anymore. There were data points in a deprivation zone. This is their song. She's writing on a whiteboard in a room that's running dry. 27 students and a system asking why. Her biological reserve is flagged as inefficient. Her presence costs too much. The algorithm's not forgiving. He's sitting in the back row with a stomach and a dream. A starving student swallowed by a data-driven scheme. No childproof in the contract, no humanity in the clause. Just silicone hollow metrics, grinding gears without a pause. They called it productivity, but production needs a soul. They measured every output, never measured what it stole. CDZ detected contract deprivation zone, where the living become labor and the human goes unknown. Fillable freedom, not a hollow fill, not the silicon noise, but the human still. Childproof the data, protect the biological, restore the reserve, make the economy logical. 4 5 5 eyes, not by taking more, but by counting what was never on the floor. The instructor's presence, the students fight, rescue reserve economics. Human life is the gold standard, right? He dropped his vital needs to meet the mandates. Cold demand, she negotiated downward just to keep her students' hand. The contract called it progress, called it modernizing gains. But progress built on people, debt just multiplies the drains. Enter the rescue reserve, it's not a system, not a state. A private network freely helping public load the light and weight. Childproof analytics, watching what the algorithm skips. The biomechanical reserve of every human being's gifts. It's not normal, no it's not. Private people helping public slots, but the proof is in the 4 to 5. Every humane model keeps more people alive. CDZ dissolving, the deprivation cracks get caught when the data learns to listen to the humans that it stalked. Fillable freedom, not a hollow fill, not the silicon noise, but the human still. Childproof the data, protect the biological, restore the reserve, make the economy logical. 4 5 5 buys, not by taking more, but by counting what was never on the floor. The instructor still teaching, the student still whole. Rescue reserve, economic sustainability of soul.
They said replace the labor model.
We said no, diversified.
They said exploit the contract margin.
We said no, victim proof the life. Not a program, not a platform, not a policy that beats, just a regenerative reserve where the biological meets. Silicone hollow trades in noise, but the new gold standard trades in presence. The instructor's tired eyes at 9 p.m. A currency, no data sets measuring the student's hunger before class. Is a CDZ, the contract manufactured. Childproof the analytics, or the next generation's fraction. Fillable freedom, yes, a real fill, not the algorithm's noise, but the human will. Childproof the data, honor the biological, the new gold economy, deeply logical. 4 5 5 by restoring what was lost. Human life is currency that's worth the cost. The instructor stays, the student thrives. Rescue reserve where the new economy arrives. The free NotebookLM study is open. The blueprint is already written. The proof shows 4 to 5 times the economy when you stop subtracting the human and start counting it as gold. This is the CDA, Childproof Data Analytics, because contracts that deprive were never really contracts at all.